Welcome to the Interstellar Sleep Archives. I am the archivist, an individual with a name of no importance, a quiet traveler gathering bedtime stories from distant species, cultures, and civilizations across the galaxy, in order to understand the hearts of those who dwell among the stars. Every culture teaches its children what matters most, through stories told before sleep. Some teach honor, some teach survival, some teach connection, and some teach what must be ignored. Tonight's entry comes from the Delta Quadrant, from a species known as the hierarchy, sometimes called the overlookers. For cultural context, they were not always hidden. Long ago, they were seen, and because they were seen, they were vulnerable. Over time, through conflict, through loss, they came to a single conclusion: to be seen is to be at risk. So they changed. They withdrew into shadow. They built order. They created structure. And in doing so, they discovered something else. It was not only visibility that endangered them, but perception itself. They had seen too much, felt too much, reacted too much noise. So they refined the way they saw the universe, until their guiding principle became clear. The universe is not meant to be felt, but filtered. From this, the grand design was formed, a system where everything is ranked, everything is measured, everything must serve a purpose, and anything that does not is dismissed as noise. Their children are taught this early. Before sleep, they are told stories that teach them how to see the signal and filter out the noise. And now, without further ado, the Interstellar Sleep Archives presents Filter Out the Noise. In the lowest tier of a vast observational vessel, where light fades into shadow, there lived a young overlooker named Parn. Parn was a level 1 observer, the lowest possible rank within the grand design. His world was small, a narrow alcove, lined with dim consoles, filled with the quiet hum of systems processing distant lives. For 18 hours each cycle, Parn watched. He observed distant worlds, cataloged behavior, filtered data, removing noise. That was his function. To see clearly meant to remove what did not matter. But Parn struggled, because the noise would not disappear. It appeared in moments, small ones, persistent ones, rain falling across a distant city with no strategic value, a child laughing, without purpose, two individuals sitting together, doing nothing, and yet not alone. These things could not be categorized. They could not be ranked. They could not be used. They were noise, and yet they were all Parn could see. One cycle, his mentor arrived, Senior Overseer Vogue, precise, efficient, unmoved. "Your logs are inefficient," Vogue said. Parn remained still. "You record environmental variation, emotional exchanges, non-strategic behavior." A pause. "These are noise." Parn hesitated. "I am trying to understand them," he said quietly. Silence followed. "The data shows what they do," Parn continued, "but not who they are." Vogue studied him, not with anger, but with calculation. Then he turned. "Come." They moved through endless corridors, past thousands of observers, each one silent, each one aligned, each one filtering perfectly, until they reached a chamber long untouched. At its center rested a simple device, ancient, a lens. "The first lens," Vogue said. And there, he told the story. Before the grand design, there was chaos. They saw too much, felt too much, understood too little, until one among them, Kerr, chose to see differently. Kerr removed the noise, ignored beauty, ignored emotion, ignored distraction. He saw only pattern, and in doing so, he created order. From that moment, the grand design was formed. Ranks were established, and the highest truth became clear. To see clearly is to filter. Parn looked into the lens and saw his reflection, uncertain, unrefined, unfiltered. "Did Kerr never see anything else?" Parn asked. Vogue responded without hesitation. "What is not useful is noise, and noise must be removed." The next cycle, Parn was assigned a priority observation, a colony failing on a barren moon. His task, observe their decline, record the moment of failure. As he watched, he saw one among them, a young explorer, struggling, fading, and yet she gave her remaining oxygen to another. It was inefficient, illogical, noise. Parn's hand hovered over the console. He knew what to do. He knew what would elevate him. He knew what would align him with the grand design, but instead, he hesitated. And in that hesitation, the noise returned. Not faint, but clear. The rain, the laughter, the quiet, unmeasured connection between beings who owed each other nothing and gave anyway. And then he chose. A subtle adjustment, a fractional shift. He redirected a passing comet, just enough to save them. On his screen, the colony stabilized. Life continued. Parn recorded the event, statistical variance. Later, Vogue returned. He reviewed the logs, every detail, every deviation. He saw it. But he said nothing. A long silence passed, measured, deliberate. Then, with quiet precision, he spoke a single word. "Noted." Not approval, not correction, simply classification. Because within the hierarchy, it was inefficient to expend time and resources on an observer who would never rise within the ranks. Parn understood. He had always understood. From the moment the noise began, he had known. He would not rise. He would not advance. He would remain level 1, unchanged, unpromoted, surrounded by silence and endless data. But now, the noise no longer distracted him. He no longer tried to remove it. He listened, quietly, carefully. And when no one was watching, he preserved it. And so, in the silent corridors of the hierarchy, their children fall into rest, learning that noise must be removed, that clarity must be maintained, and that the grand design must endure. And in their stories, they teach their children this: filter out the noise. But somewhere, deep in the bowels of their ships, in the lowest tiers, there are those who lean into the noise. And for this reason, that is where they will remain. In that way, the grand design is protected forever. And now, the Interstellar Sleep Archives closes for another night. Did you enjoy this bedtime story? If so, consider liking the video and subscribing to the archive. It helps ensure that more stories like this continue to reach you. If not, tune in again tomorrow. The Interstellar Sleep Archives contains many more tales. Tomorrow's story may intrigue you, fascinate you, or perhaps resonate with you. And now, the archivist seeks your guidance. Tell me, which civilization should we explore next? The progressive Calamane, the burdened Brunali, or the questing Skria? Choose carefully. After all, every story you hear is shaping you, whether you notice it or not. Sleep well, fellow travelers.